Well, hello, I'm Carol Shaddix with Imagine Going There Travel. Thank you so much for joining me today as we talk about an amazing itinerary called Empires of the Mediterranean. I just got back from this trip and I can tell you it is absolutely a wonderful itinerary. I think you'll enjoy every stop along the way. I'm here to tell you all about it. So what I usually do with my webinars is to talk about the destination first, then tell you how to get the best deals, how we can help, and then to do a ship overview. So stay to the end if you've never been on a Viking ship. You'll want to know all the details on how to take the most advantage of each different stateroom category and the best times to book, etc., and how we can help. So I'm going to turn my camera off for now, just so it doesn't interfere with these great images. And then we're going to talk about the itinerary itself and go through our experience. We have over 30 different Mediterranean itineraries with Vikings, so there is a lot to choose from, and you can't go wrong. I've done several already myself, and this is one that our clients had always talked so much about, so decided it was time for us to experience it as well. We actually started in Athens to Venice, and you can go either direction. You'll notice the black dot. The black dot means we do not overnight. The white dot does. It means we actually do. So in the process of preparing for this trip, I want you to know that right from the outset. But we'll talk about the amazing extensions. I really encourage you to do that if at all possible, because I think it'll really make the difference. Now, if you're going in Athens to start with, then you will have your arrival day. And of course, if your air is booked with Viking, you'll be transferred to the ship. And then from there, there's a shuttle that will go into town. So this was a picture that I took because we had an amazing dinner the evening of our, right before we were sailing. And this was just an incredible shot. And our dinner, my husband had moussaka and had this wonderful salad that had some Greek olives and all kinds of great food. We just really enjoyed the food. We did the extension. I really encourage you to do that. We'll talk about that at the end. But your first day, you're going to have the most time to kind of get in, enjoy the city on your own, the Plaka district and all that there is to see. The next day will be an included tour, which will be a motor coach tour of the city. And here is Hadrian's Arch. You'll see the Temple of Zeus. You'll also get a tour of the some of the highlights in the area. So get that camera ready, take those pictures. This is the Olympic Stadium that was refurbished. I believe it was for a special anniversary. And so that is historic, but not the original one, which we'll see when we go to Olympia. And then we did a trip to this archaeological museum. So in Greece, there is so much to see. And this is just incredible, all the artifacts that are everywhere. In fact, there are certain, they're finding historical objects all the time because the Greeks, being very superstitious, believed in the gods of all these different things related to the harvest. For instance, fertility, they would create these gods and throw them in the soil. So they are still finding those things. And so there are just amazing artifacts that you can view in this museum. One of the most popular things they have found is a pair of tweezers and razors. So even then, they were making sure they were well groomed, but just amazing. It's just unbelievable how many ancient pieces of art and history and artifacts are found here. And this museum will take you and allow you to see that. Our next day is going to be a trip to Santorini. Now, this is a bucket list stop for many people. And I want to tell you, I was actually surprised because while we do have the whole day in Santorini, we were there in June. So there were a lot of cruise ships there. So we had limited time to actually spend in Santorini itself. So I don't want you to be disappointed about that. I actually, even though it was shorter than I expected, I felt it was adequate because I'll explain why in some photos. But do you see these zigzag roads? You are going to be tendering in and then going up and over. Santorini is probably a 20-minute drive. So there is a lot of activity just getting to and from the city of Santorini itself. Here is where we actually spent our afternoon after we got back. And it was absolutely lovely. Just in the ship being docked in that caldera there and seeing beautiful scenery around was really amazing. But you do get to take these iconic pictures, which are beautiful. You've seen them on postcards, but it is very much a small little apex of a town there. So get a chance to walk around, pick up a couple, souvenirs or whatever, postcards or whatever, and you'll be going back to the motor coach to go back to the ship in a fairly short amount of time. So it's not as navigable as some of the other ports of call that you will get, because it is some distance to the ship. I would encourage you not to incorporate too many independent excursions on your own, because depending on how many people are in the city, just getting to and from the down to the port itself, the guide said sometimes they will have people that will hire them as a private guide, and they could wait 2 hours in line. So just be very careful. I would recommend on this day, either do Best of Santorini as an optional excursion where you will see many other things besides the town here, or stay with the ship just to make sure you don't get stuck trying to get back to the ship in time. Our next day is Catakalan. It's a small fishing village, but the reason we stop here is because we're going to go to Olympia. This is the original Olympic arch, and this is where the athletes would come and actually do the race. It was actually a just one-day foot race initially. Much history here. In fact, it is fascinating, all of what they have discovered, which has been fairly recent in the last 200 years. So you'll find just an incredible piece of history here, learn all about how they would choose the athletes from the different city-states, how they actually had a sacred truce, because the city-states were in a constant state of war and fighting and battles. But the sacred truce was an agreement that they would stop for this one day, usually around the first part of August, and they would send the best athletes from each of the communities to compete 30 days in advance of the actual games. And you learn a lot of history here, which was very, very fascinating. Our next stop is Corfu. What a beautiful town. It is just incredible water, lots of history here. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is the Corfu Monastery, as well as this esplanade, which used to just be for the elite to shop here, but now you can, of course, there's tons of great places to eat. Love just walking around, shopping, picking up souvenirs or great food. It was just a delightful day. But we actually did some extras after our included tour. This is actually a fortress that we climbed to the top of. I think it was €6 each. It gave you some great views of the city. This was one of them. But we were doing the included tour, but we also did an optional tour. The waves were too high that day that we were doing that. So we couldn't get in the fishing boats as expected. So we got to do this amazing trip to this town at high elevation called Bella Vista. The views were just simply stunning. The roads were so narrow. It was incredibly impressive how the Greek drivers could navigate these twisty, turny roads, which had very little margin on either side. But the views were so, so worth it. And you could see why people and celebrities love coming here. The next day is the sail into Kotor. And this is in Montenegro, and I encourage you to get up because the views are just going to be stunning. It almost doesn't matter what side of the ship you're on, just beautiful. And the program director, the ship staff were there with croissants and donuts to help give you some nourishment as you were sailing. Just a lovely little town. Your included tour is going to take you on a walking tour of the city. We also did this maritime museum with a lot of really neat artifacts. Just charming shops that you could stop and visit. And one of the things that we really enjoyed was after our included tour, we went back to the ship for lunch, and then we wanted to climb this fortress at the top of the hill. Only 1,400 steps will take you up to some amazing views. You can see how this really was a great defense for this town where the bay actually ends here in Corfu, and they protected it very well. You can see incredible views from here. I would encourage you, if you go in the summertime, take a tip and do that cooling towel, which I have around my neck, which you're able to just get damp, and it just helps your body temperature so much. But you can see incredible views here. Really, really enjoyed our day in Corfu, and the shops, the food, just a delightful day that I think you will really enjoy. The next day is Dubrovnik, and this is a great stop, made very famous, of course, because of the filming of Star Trek and Game of Thrones here. But wow, what a great, great city. You get the included tour, takes you a walking tour around the city. This was a monastery that we got to see. This is a fountain, and the water is from the mountains. It's ice cold. So on a very hot day, everyone was just enjoying filling up their water bottles. Of course, my cooling towel got doused a couple times because we wanted to walk on the city walls. It's an extra fee for that. You can get a Dubrovnik city pass for 35 euros per person, and it'll also give you some access to museums, etc. So we had a wonderful time walking around the city walls, getting some incredible views here. You can tell just a lot of history. You can see how they were able to defend the city thoroughly because of the views and ramparts they had of the ships that were sailing in. Just really a special day. I'd encourage you to do that. Here's a local craftswoman who has made some things that you could purchase. So just a little bit of traditional crafts. And boy, we really enjoyed it. Then you can do a cable car ride above the city. This, I believe, was 27 euros per person. But the views were just amazing. So I would encourage you to do that. It was a lovely day in Corfu. In Dubrovnik. You could stay there longer, and there was a shuttle that would take you back and forth. So we took the very last shuttle back to the ship because there was just so much to see and enjoy here. The next stop is in Zadar, and this is Croatia. Very fun port for a couple of reasons. You see all these little slits in the concrete there. This is the sea organ, and it is incredibly interesting. As the waves come or the ships go, the pipes that are in there actually create like whistling over a Coke bottle. And our guide said sometimes they have to actually move away from the shoreline because the sea organ gets so loud. But another really interesting thing that's here is the greeting to the sun, which is that blue circle. It stores up sunlight during the day, and then at night it kind of turns into a bunch of different colors. So it's a very popular thing for the residents to do on the town. See the little keys here? This is the indication of the sea organ here. And we found so many people just floating in the water there and swimming. That was a beautiful day. And of course, the water was great temperature, and really enjoyed just seeing the city itself. This is the Pillar of Shame. In the old days, they would see that chain at the bottom, and they would punish people and people who had done wrong. And of course, they were humiliated in front of the town. This is the cathedral, that St. Donatus Cathedral, and I think it's from the 9th century. So we had a quick tour of this because we spent our morning doing this amazing optional excursion called the Krka National Park. And it's 27 acres of just beautiful scenery. I wanted to show you, this boardwalk, which is very even here. And your guide takes you around, tells you about the history and all the beauty and the wildlife, et cetera, that you see here. It does get a little steep going down to the falls itself. So those with mobility issues, about 150 steps down, and then of course back up. So keep that in mind, but it is just a lovely day. We enjoyed it so much. It didn't include a typical Croatian lunch, but you can just see just amazing beauty here. Back at the ship, this was a view from our stateroom, and you can just see it's just a lovely area that is someplace you want to just spend as much time in as possible. The next stop was in Koper, and you can see this is, they were celebrating their 1500th anniversary. A small town here that has the Tito Square, also this bell tower here. We wanted to climb. We love climbing towers and getting great views of the city, but it was closed when we were there. However, this day we took an optional excursion called Postojna and Prajana Castle. So the Prajana Castle that you see here is a castle built within a cave back in 1570, and it was not conquered for many, many years. In fact, I think the only way it was conquered was someone got someone on the inside who said how they could come through, because there is so much protection here from not only the incredible views that, anybody coming to the castle would be seen well in advance. They had all the necessities they needed here. This was the lord of the castle. This is the armory, the cannons. Look at these, they had incredible defenses to be able to protect the castle. So very, very interesting history here. And of course, just learning all about the castle and its and how the townspeople basically were protected because they had this great ability to defend any invaders that were coming in. Then the combination was the Postojna caves, and you can see here it was just amazing. I think we had a 15-minute train ride and then about a 45-minute walk around all of these passages in here. 15 miles of them. There are actually more than 10,000 caves in Slovenia. So this was a very popular one, owned by the same company that owns the castle itself. And so it was a really fun day and very, very interesting. Now, one of the things that I want to tell you about, because this from here going Athens to Venice, your disembarkation day is Venice. So if you do want to see Venice, you're going to have to extend your stay either with the 2 nights hotel stay or the best of Venice, which is going to include some tickets. You're going to see the St. Mark's Basilica, etc. We did the 2 nights post in Venice, and basically did some independent tours on our own. But we've done Ultimate Italy Tuscany before. Absolutely a fabulous extension. It does not take you to Venice. It takes you to Florence, San Gimignano, Siena. And you stay in this 650-year-old villa, which is just amazing. I have not done the Como and Italian lakes, but I did do classic Greece and really recommend that. I'll talk a little bit about that here. So much has to do with your guide, and we had the most amazing guide. In fact, one of our clients told us to do classic Greece. She said it was one of the best she's ever done. She's probably done 15 cruises at least. And so I took her word for it. And she said that she had a guy that was so good that they still correspond. And I was like, well, was it Stati? And she said, no, it was somebody else. So I really think Viking does a great job of getting really quality guides that can help you feel like you are immersing yourself in the culture. And Stati was with us the full we had 5 days, 4 nights. I think 3 of those days were, she was with us the full day. And so the hotel we stayed in was we were just a block from the Parliament building. So we saw the classic changing of the guards. This is in their ceremonial garb that they do every Sunday. Those pom-poms weigh like 7 pounds. And this is celebrating their liberation. So that was very special. You can see a little bit of a video here of that. And it's, you line the street and get a chance to really see this, ceremony that's been going on for just decades, if not centuries. Here's another photo there. One of the extensions, one of the special days on the extension was this trip to Delphi. So Delphi is where Zeus, the gods were all honored here, and this incredible community was built up around this. And this is where they would bring all of the treasuries were filled with sacrifices, etc. We did Delphi, we did Epidaurus, we went to Mycenae as well. really encourage you to just look at the what's included on the optional extensions, because it's really amazing. And I just feel like you get so much more value flying all that way. Go ahead and really enjoy your time there. So when you have just the hotel stay, it's going to cover, as we did in Venice, it's going to cover your hotel, your city, your daily breakfast, services of Viking hosts, and your transfers. And transfers from the city to the airport was interesting because it was by water taxi. And that was a wonderful experience. But getting a chance to just be in Venice for a couple of days was wonderful. This is from the top of the bell tower. It, I think, was €7 a person, but gives you some amazing views of the city. You can see St. Mark's Basilica here, and this is the Doge's Palace. And we did a tour of both of those. That tower gives you some, like I said, incredible views of the city. The Doge's Palace, built in the 14th century, was once the seat of government, but it is amazing. And the history and how they went about, deciding on how cases were ruled, etc., is very fascinating. This is just a passageway into some of these amazing rooms. The prison was also at the bottom of the palace, and this was very fascinating. This is taken from as on the way to the prison, they would escort the prisoners here, and this is a view out, and this was called the Bridge of Sighs. So you can see Doug and I here, and that little lattice work was from the palace to the prison, and they would look out, realizing they were not going to be able to be free citizens again. So very fascinating. Then we went to St. Mark's Basilica, built in 1092. The bones of St. Mark are said to be smuggled out of Alexandria by Venetian merchants in 829. Just incredible. All these mosaic tiles are coated with gold, and so it's just absolutely stunning. I was amazed at all the different types of marble. Look at the floor. I mean, just so much incredible artwork that is just amazing. So really enjoyed our stay there, and of course, getting a chance to do the water ferry. We did it. We did the public water ferry so we could go see Murano and Burano. The water taxis there are plentiful, as is the opportunity to do a gondola ride. So if you want a chance to have that iconic and romantic gondola ride, you can certainly do this. This is the Rialto Bridge. They have shops up and down the side of it, so it's one of the very famous bridges there. You'll see a lot of special activity. I think people get married and sail in the gondola under that bridge. This was just some of the incredible artwork and the masks for Carnival, and it was just amazing how much creativity there is here. This was a fun stop. This bookshop is called Libreria Aqua Alta, and just a very quirky bookshop with a gondola full of books. And one of my favorite books, I actually read this book to my children, Guido's Gondola. Encourage you to get that, read that to your kids or grandkids. It's just a fun book, and a very iconic story about a mouse who is happy taking couples in his gondola. He's encouraged to buy a bigger yacht, and bigger, and he finally realizes that he actually loves being in his gondola in the city, sells his yacht, and comes back to what he loves. So encourage you to get that book if you can. Murano and Burano are interesting islands. You can go over there to do see some glass blowing demonstrations, or Burano. The lace making is amazing. You might be thinking, I don't really care about lace, but you should see it. And you can do a water taxi where you can just go back and forth to all the islands for I think it was 25 euros per person. And it basically gets you on and off the ferries all day. So a nice way to use up some time in the evening. This was one of our clients who talked about the ultimate Italy, Tuscany, which I mentioned to start with. She says our pre-extension in Tuscany was a wonderful start to our trip and one of our favorite areas of Italy. We love the villa we stayed in and every part of this extension. The villa, the hosts, our guides, Francesca and driver Valentina, the included excursions, the food, absolutely everything was wonderful. We made many friendships with our fellow Viking travelers during this extension that we maintain to this day. And that's really what I love about Viking is the opportunity to make new friendships, have some wonderful experiences. And of course, we're happy to help make put this trip together for you. You're always going to get some additional promotions from us, whether it's 100 per person ship or credit. We can add that to all the other promos you have. We're able to give you some amazing additional advice, whether it's a special promo code that would be applied. So just contact us. Even if you booked in the last 60 days, we're going to be able to help you get the most out of your vacation experience and add those extra bonuses for you. So don't hesitate to contact us. The Viking philosophy is to not be everything to everyone. It's geared toward those English-speaking mature folks who really enjoy art, history, geography, and culture. So Viking does focus on the destination. They try to include a lot of things in their fare and to be an efficient operator so that you're not being nickel and dimed along the way. They like to help you explore before you go. So you're a really educated traveler, both not only before you get on board, but also once you get there, because they will do different lectures, etc. You have fellow travelers that are also focused on the destination, just like you are. And then, of course, dining is always such a fun part of every journey, so that you will have your regional fare, but you also have options that are unique to the area that you're sailing through. So I think you'll find something amazing every time you sail with Viking. The main restaurant is no reservations are needed there. Manfredi's and the chef's table are really the only two that are basically limited in capacity, so you can make dining reservations there. And of course, the Mamson's is a Norwegian deli, so you'll have the option for some caramelized goat cheese on Norwegian waffles and Norwegian split pea soup and open face sandwiches. The Winter Garden is your high tea experience. The World Cafe is one of my favorites. I enjoy eating there a lot. Of course, the pool grill has some amazing options, and then 24-hour room service makes it so simple if you end up wanting to have a bite in your room before you go out on your shore excursions. Great staff on board. They return year after year because Viking takes such good care of them. So I think you'll feel very well cared for. What Viking is not is a very important slide, because this is one of those things that distinguishes Viking from a lot of other cruise lines. There are no casinos on board, no kids under 18, no umbrella drinks or photographers impeding your ability to just enjoy and relax on your cruise or getting on and off the ship. No art auctions. You just don't feel like you're always be giving tickets to join something that you might want to buy. No formal nights or smoking, no charge for beer, wine, and soft drinks. But if you find a special wine or some craft beers, or even if you want something particular that's special to you, you can bring it on board. There's no charge for that. No charge for unlimited Wi-Fi. The laundrette is free, as well as the soap. Of course, you can get into the spa for free, but no sales pressure as well. There's not a bad stateroom on the ship because everything is a veranda. And like I mentioned, no charge for alternative restaurants. The Viking Ocean ships were first built in 2015, and ever since the first ship hit the water, it has gone to #1 ever since. And you can see why. Such a beautiful ship. Like I said, everything is a veranda. A quick tour is just going to show you the atrium area. This is where you'll experience some live music, whether it's a piano or a stringed trio. That interactive screen at the top of the steps changes all through the day with places Viking has sailed. And then there's a partnership with the Edvard Munch Museum at 6 p.m. So you can experience a walk through an art museum if you'd like. I love these little alcoves within the living area where you could meet up with friends and just sit and visit during the day or before dinner. The Explorer's Lounge is very popular, as you can see, a beautiful place for some scenic sailing. And upstairs not only has some great views, but also a library. So you'll find people just enjoying scenic sailing days sitting here. I love the Winter Garden because there is a wonderful high tea service every afternoon. So be sure to try that out while you're sailing. This is the main pool with that retractable roof. So regardless of the weather, you'll be able to enjoy some time either swimming or just visiting with friends and getting some fresh air. At night, it can become an entertainment venue, and you'll have the blankets if needed, Bose headphones, and of course, some wonderful experiences, entertainment, or movies under the stars. The infinity pool is a fun place to enjoy, as we did in Santorini. Feels like you're sailing in your destination. And then you have this beautiful spa with lots of options, from the snow grotto to the sauna to the ice bucket challenge as well. So enjoy relaxing on one of those sea days. The restaurant has great views and wonderful. No need to make reservations there, but Manfredi's is that Italian steakhouse that you will want to make a reservation for at least once during your trip. And Manfredi's has a private dining room as well. So if you are traveling with friends, just speak to the maitre d' once you get on board and see if that's available. The chef's table is a 5-course menu with wine pairings. The menu changes every couple of days, so feel free to change that up and enjoy that special wine tasting with the unique menus that are featured. And then here's Mamson's, as I mentioned, a lot of options throughout the day. And this is the area where you will be seated there with that unique china. Mamson's is named for the chairman's mother, and that was the china that she used when he was still at home. So a lot of nostalgia here. I love eating at the World Cafe, as I mentioned, especially when I've been in port all day and I just want to grab a quick bite. It has the same food as the restaurant, just served kind of in a more buffet style. So I think you'll enjoy that. And then to choose the right stateroom, really want to help you understand why these categories are so different. So the deluxe friend, as you see this blue box, everything is the same square footage. But as you go up, you're going to have different amenities, whether it's the deluxe veranda, the penthouse veranda, junior suite, explorer suite, or the owner suite. So in this, I usually say try to do the deluxe veranda. It's not much difference in price. It's going to give you some extra options, and I'll explain what those are. If you can see that everything is kind of in threes after you get above the deluxe veranda. So each category, each box is basically a category. So PB1 versus PB3 is just different placement on the ship. So we'll start with the deluxe veranda, which is going to give you earlier access to your stateroom and some guaranteed reservations, and your mini bar will have soft drinks, water, and snacks replenished daily. In the deluxe veranda, it's just replenished once. But the main thing is going to be the priority shore excursions that will allow you to book those a little sooner. There are 272 staterooms in the deluxe veranda category, so you want to make sure that you're at least one of those who can pick those when they open at 3 p.m. prior to departure. Penthouse veranda is the next category up. You have 1 p.m. stateroom access. Your shore excursion reservations do come in sooner, and now your alcohol within your stateroom mini bar is replenished every day, and you get shoe shine and pressing service and a bottle of champagne included. This is the penthouse veranda, a little more space there. Then we go up to the junior suite, where you're going to start on being able to get in your room at 11. So nice after a long night of flying to be able to get in and freshen up and unpack. You'll be able to pick your shore excursion sooner. And now you have some extras, including laundry and dry cleaning, as well as everything else that's included. The great thing about this category is you do have that partition that separates the two. So some of our clients maybe get up earlier or stay up later or have to work, and this just makes like a 2-room separation for you to really enjoy that privacy, or to have guests over and visit in your living area. Penthouse Junior Suite also has double vanity sinks and a heated towel bar, as well as bigger bathrooms and stateroom as well. The Explorer Suite, of course, is right under the owner suite, but we actually have several different sizes of them. So it depends whether you get one that's forward or aft, and we'll be happy to help with that, telling the differences in the locations. You're going to get a lot of extras here, but of course, you're really dealing with a lot more space, and you get full chaise lounges, whether it's forward or back. This is the only category other than the owner suite that has the bathtubs, so a lot more room. And of course, some amazing views. And then if you went to the top of the line, this is where the chairman stays. Beautiful area with a boardroom that seats 12, and you've got an ocean view dry sauna and lots of extras included here. Just a very, very comfortable way to spend your sailing, going to all these wonderful destinations. And then, as I mentioned, you are going to have some amazing lectures on board, learning more about the areas that you're sailing through. Your lecturers will have some office hours. We really do try to focus on learning more about the destination. Then the MOOC moments, as we talked about, this is the interactive screen at night, and it gives you that extra feeling of relaxing and exposure to some art as you're waiting for dinner. Biggest factor is how much time is spent in the destination with Viking. So you just need to compare apples to apples when you are looking at other ships that have maybe similar itineraries. Most of the time, we include at least one overnight. That's really to help you experience life as a local. And then one of the things to really look at is a small ship is going to sail closer to the destination. You'll not only see the countryside as you sail, but we rarely have to tender to and from the ship, which is going to save you so much time. You have to factor in getting on and off the vessel and how much time that takes when you own a big ship and you're having to queue up to get on the ship or off. It really does eat up the time that you have to spend in port. There's no rush to get the required 20 miles offshore to open up those cash registers. So that's another thing. Viking is not incentivized to have you spend money on board other than the gift shops or optional excursions. Pretty much the only thing that you can buy extra. You will add gratuities, but our 100 per person shipboard credit can go toward that. And then, obviously spa treatments or the beverage package, should you choose to add that. Why would you use us? Well, we are your Viking experts. As Viking's second largest seller, we do a lot of Viking. And so we know it inside and out. We are also able to really help with your planning because we know Viking very, very well. A lot of agencies sell a little bit of everything, and we chose to make Viking our specialty. So 99% of all that we do is Viking, so that you're able to know that not only do you have someone that can give you specific advice about your sailing, but we've also sailed on Viking ourselves. So we're speaking from personal experience. Remember, with Viking, you get so many inclusions that you have to factor in when comparing how you want to sail or cruise for your next vacation. So remember these extras that are included. Specifically, when you get your reduced airfare with Viking, you're going to get free transfers to and from the ship. And that's an extra that I think our guests really like, not having to worry about making sure they are able to navigate getting from the airport to the ship or getting there at the time it's needed. So you're always going to have these extras included with every Viking sailing. And of course, when you book with us, we're here for you every step of your journey. We're your personal cruise consultants. You have direct access to us. We're always going to provide extra bonuses for you you might not know to ask for, as well as special surprises. We really love helping our guests enjoy the process of seeing the world. And that's what we're here for. We want to make sure that your trip is amazing. So if you need any help, please reach out. I'm Carol at imaginegoingthere.com. We have a motto, and it's great vacations matter because great memories matter the most. We're here to help you get an amazing Viking vacation. Please feel free to reach out to Carol at imaginegoingthere.com. My phone number is 770-421-9627. And I look forward to talking to you soon.